Without wasting time, let's see how we can add CSS to HTML. Let's first create a folder. Let me name HTML folder. Now let's open this folder in Visual Studio. Open with code. So we have now opened our HTML folder. Let's create a file index.html inside it, and let's get the default boilerplate code for index.html. All you have to do is shift, press 1 and enter. So this is the default boilerplate code provided by HTML. Let's first print something on the screen to check if it's working properly. In the h1 tag, print is Sala Cup Namde, and we will save this and right click and open with live server. If you don't have live server, all you need to install these extensions. Go to the extensions and search for live server. Just install this live server, and when you right click on it, you can directly open it live server, and we can see that Isala Cup Namde text is printed on the screen. Let's try to add CSS to it. The first way we have to add CSS is using inline CSS. Let's see this inline CSS. Let's change the color of this text to red. We will achieve using inline CSS. So this is HTML element, and every element has an attributes, and we will make use of style attribute. So now we will write our CSS, that is property name is color, and its value is, I want to give the red color, and again I will control save and see the changes on the document, and we can see Isala Cup Namde, the text color is changed to red from default black. So this way of adding CSS to HTML element is called inline CSS. Now let's move to the second part, that is internal CSS. Now if I remove this CSS, let me add style tag just above this head, and all I will do is write CSS here. So to target this h1 element, let's give this h1 element a class heading, and if I take that class, this is class, so I will make use of dot heading, and the syntax is everything you write inside curly braces. Now CSS syntax is property name, which is color, and the property value is, I want to give it red, separated by semicolon, control S, and let's see the changes. It is changed to red again. Now let's change it to green. The color, you can see that the color of Isala Cup Namde is changed to green. So in internal CSS, we include all our CSS inside this style tag, and which is placed just above the closing of the head. Now what if I copy this CSS, remove the style tag, create an external CSS file. Let me name site.css and paste the CSS here. Now I have HTML file and CSS file. I have maintained two different files for CSS and HTML. Now I have to link this site.css file, which contains CSS for heading element, to change color of Isala Cup Namde text. Now I have text inside it. Now I will give the reference of CSS file inside this file with the help of link tag, link, enter, and this is style sheet, CSS style sheet, cascading style sheet. So the path of this site.css file slash site.css. If I save this file, let's change the color to blue. So if it's working properly, it means the color of Isala Cup Namde will be blue. We can see that Isala Cup Namde is blue. So now we have covered external CSS. The third one is external CSS. Now let's take some special cases. Suppose I have external CSS. Let's me copy this and add internal CSS. How we write that? Style tag. We have style tag. Inside it we will write our CSS of heading with class heading. Now what if write inline CSS? Again style, I will make use of style attribute. So color change to red. So for inline CSS we have given red color. For internal CSS we are giving green color. Now in the external CSS we have blue color. Let's save this. We have provided the link for external CSS. We have also included internal CSS as well as inline CSS. Let's see which CSS applied to this. Let's see the color of the Isala Cup Namde. Okay, the Isala Cup Namde is in red color. It means the red color is applied from the inline CSS, and this internal CSS and external CSS color property is been overridden by this inline CSS. So from this we can conclude that inline CSS has the highest priority. What if I provide this reference to the external CSS after inline CSS? So will there be any change? What will be the color of the Isala Cup Namde? Will it still be red, green, or blue? I have changed the order in which they are included inside the head. These are the resources. The color of the text is still. Now I have removed the internal CSS. Now the color to the Isala Cup Namde will be coming from site.css or from this internal CSS. Now let's see. Now the order in which they are mentioned is first internal CSS, then external link to the site.css. Let's see the color of the Isala Cup Namde. Isala Cup Namde, the color is blue. So in the site.css we have the color mentioned, the color of the text to blue. So this is applied and this is not applied. Means what? This color property is been override by the external CSS color property. So the priority will also be dependent in which order they are mentioned, internal CSS and external CSS. We move this external CSS at the top of the internal CSS. So let's check the color of the Isala Cup Namde. So Isala Cup Namde is changed to green. Now this color green is coming from the internal CSS, and from this we are from this previous two example, that is in which they are mentioned included inside head is also important, and the color or style, the CSS properties that loads in the order from top to bottom, the bottom one CSS will override the all the CSS properties that are mentioned above it. Means if they are mentioned here. So if I include another CSS file, let's add another CSS file, that is site1.css, and change this color, or that is heading to yellow. Save this file. Now you can see that we have two external CSS files, site.css and site1.css. So if I link this site.css link and to site1.css, the color changed to yellow. It means it has overridden the blue color and green color, and last one is, it means that the first CS, these are the three CSS resources from which the color, from which this h1 element is getting the CSS properties. It moves to the first, it has color blue, and it comes again down and it sees, okay, the same element has another color property with the name green, so it will only overwrite the property color from the previous CSS, and it moves to the next line. Now it executes, it loads the browser loads this CSS file. It's again sees that inside this file we have heading and heading tag, that is h1 tag. Its color is yellow. So uh, it will also override this color green. Now if I add border, no, let me move this border to site1.css, border 1 pixel, solid red. If I save this, we can see the color of the border is red. It means that it does not replace all the properties, it override only the common properties. The common properties between this internal, between this the only there is only one common property, that is color, between these two external CSS. It only replaces only the common CSS. So the final color of Isala Cup Namde will be coming from site.css, and it is yellow. And it has other CSS such as a border is red, okay, but this color also blue, but this has been overridden by the last CSS resources that has been loaded from the by the browser. So all, so let's revise in quick. So there are three ways to add CSS to HTML. The first one is inline CSS. All you have to make use of style attributes and write all your CSS separated by the semicolon. Then comes internal CSS. Within the HTML document file, you write your CSS inside style tag, which is included in the head tag. When you writing internal CSS, you have to target that HTML document either by ID, classes, or any other complex selectors. The last one is external CSS. In this external CSS, we maintain a separate CSS file and give a reference of that CSS file to the HTML document, whichever HTML document is using that CSS. If we are having multiple CSS coming from inline, internal, or external CSS, inline CSS has the highest priority, and it will override all the common properties from the other CSS that is coming from inline or internal CSS.